न जहाति यदा कामान् सर्वान् पार्थ मनोगतान् आत्मन्येवात्मना तुष्टः स्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते। दुःखेषु अनुद्विग्नमनाः सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वीतरागभयक्रोधः स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते। यः सर्वत्र नाभिस्नेहस्तत्तत्प्राप्य शुभाशुभं नाभिनन्दति न द्वेष्टि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता। यदा संहरते चायं कूर्मोऽङ्गानीव सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यः तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता। स्थितप्रज्ञस्य का भाषा समाधिस्तस्य केशव स्थितधि किं प्रभासेत किमासीत व्रजेत किम्. When Krishna talked about Sthita Prajna, Arjuna wanted to know how to recognize a Sthita Prajna. Prajna is wisdom. Now first we need to understand what is wisdom. What is Prajna? What is wisdom? When Krishna sends me rains and rains become my choice, that is wisdom. Let me repeat it. Simply put, when Krishna sends me rains and rains become my choice, that is wisdom. Wisdom is to see the miraculous in the common. Wisdom is to see Krishna's signature in every experience. Wisdom is to know the reality of life. Wisdom is to realize the purpose of life. Wisdom is to know one's own nature, one's own completeness. So prajna is wisdom, and one who has the right knowledge of absolute reality is also a prajna. Then what is sthita prajna? Who is a sthita prajna? Sthita is steadfastness, firmness. One who is rooted in unshakable wisdom. One who is rooted in firm wisdom. He is the sthita prajna. Now it is not enough just to gain knowledge. Prajna is knowledge, wisdom gained through knowledge. Just like how it is not just enough to eat food. Eating food is important. But what is more important is to assimilate the food. Only the food that is assimilated in the body nourishes the body. Similarly, gaining knowledge is very important, but more important is to assimilate that knowledge. And only when that knowledge is assimilated, that manifests as actions in day-to-day lives. So, who is a sthita prajna? A sthita prajna is one who is rooted in firm, unshakable wisdom gained through knowledge that is assimilated. Knowledge is like a feeble lamp, is like a lamp. In the initial stages, the lamp is feeble. It needs to be protected. It needs to be cultivated. External factors can easily extinguish it. Just like how a small lamp can be blown off, extinguished by a wind. Similarly, feeble knowledge in the initial stages is feeble. And it needs to be protected and cultivated in the process of gaining it and assimilating it. And over the process, as the journey progresses, this feeble flame gains in intensity, grows and becomes a major conflagration which cannot be easily put off. Then there is no protection that is needed. So Krishna in 4 shlokas in 2nd chapter talks about this journey of becoming a sthita prajna. Who is a sthita? He talked in responding to Arjuna's questions as to how do I recognize a sthita prajna? What are the signs of sthita prajna? Sthitaprajnasya ka bhasha samadhistasya Keshava. How do I recognize this man rooted in firm wisdom gained through knowledge that is assimilated, who is always in a meditative state, who is always in a contemplative state? Samadhistasya Keshava. For such a person, meditation is not a half an hour, 1 hour exercise done every day. He is constantly in a meditative state. Samadhistasya Keshava. How do I recognize such a person? And interestingly, Arjuna asks, Sthitadhi kim prabhaseta. How does Sthita Prajna prabhaseta? How does he talk? How does he communicate? Does he react, respond? Kimasita vrajeta kim. Kimasita, how does he sit, he says. Vrajeta kim, how does he walk? What do we understand by such questions? It is very important to understand that it is not the external factors that determine, that are the signs for recognizing a Sthita Prajna. Kimasita. Because Sthita Prajna is always meditative, always contemplative, is such a person always in a Padmasana? Obviously not. Vrajeta kim. Is he always sitting inside a cave, completely shut off from all activity? Or he is amidst activity, amidst all people? Kimasita vrajeta kim. How does he behave? How does he conduct his life? What kind of a lifestyle he adopts? This is what Arjuna was interested in knowing. So similar question he asks here in terms of recognizing a gunatita. And let us look at how Krishna explains Sthita Prajna briefly in 4 shlokas. Krishna starts by talking about defining who a Sthita Prajna is, which is the highest state, and then over the next 3 shlokas he talks about how to reach that state of Sthita Prajna. In the process, giving us signs of recognizing a Sthita Prajna. Why do we need to know the signs? So that we can emulate, we can understand these signs and put them into practice. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha Sthita Prajnas tadochyate. Sthita Prajnas tadochyate. Who is said to be a Sthita Prajna? A person of steady wisdom. Atmanyevatmana tushtaha. One who is content. One who feels complete purnatva. One who recognizes the inherent natural completeness. Purnatva. The opposite of purnatva is apurnatva. Incompleteness. Incompleteness is caused by ignorance. Ajnana, avidya leads to apurnatva, and kama arises out of apurnatva. All the desires, selfish desires, are manifestations of this apurnatva. It is this sense of incompleteness which drives all the desires. And desires, kama, trigger, cause, karma, kamya karma. Kamya karma results in karma phala. And karma phala feeds into avidya, ajnana. So this is the vicious cycle. This is the vicious cycle of incompleteness. So now when avidya, ajnana is conquered with jnana, then jnana results in purnatva. Purnatva, which is completeness. And when there is purnatva, when there is no lack, when there is a sense of completeness, then there are no more binding desires. And when there are no more binding selfish desires, then the karma that issues out is nishkama karma. And nishkama karma does not add to our karma, to the baggage of our karma, and this is how one gets out of the cycle of karma, the cycle of apurnatva. So therefore, the fruit is atmanyevatmana tushtaha. The one who is complete, one who recognizes one's own natural completeness, one who is content, one who is happy, such a person who has no emotional dependence whatsoever on people, things, objects, such a person is spoken of as a sthita prajna. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. Krishna says, yada kaman sarvan. Now, we need to understand that sense pleasures are not imaginary. Sense pleasures are real. Sense pleasures are not imaginary, but they are products of our imagination. Let me repeat this. Sense pleasures are not imaginary, but they are products of our imagination. What do I mean by that? What are sense pleasures? Sense pleasures are the result of our senses interacting with the sense objects. And these pleasures are real. The bodily pleasures are real. They are experienced. Therefore, they are not imaginary. However, they are products of our imagination, which is, it is the mind which exaggerates these pleasures. It is the mind which makes them irresistible. It is the mind, it is our imagination which makes them intense, irresistible. Like, I have a drop of water and I imagine the drop of water to be the ocean. And if I am in a desert and I am thirsty and I have a drop of water, I see a drop of water and I am craving for the drop of water, and the mind is imagining, exaggerating it as not just a drop of water but as an ocean itself. And the problem is, this drop of water is in the opposite direction to the ocean. And instead of heading towards the ocean, I am actually heading towards this drop of water, assuming because of my own imagination in my mind that this drop of water is the very ocean itself. That is why Krishna says manogatan. It is a product of our imagination. Sense pleasures are all products of our imagination. They are mind made. The mind makes a big deal out of these trivial, fleeting sense pleasures. So who is a sthita prajna? Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. A sthita prajna is one who recognizes this, who recognizes that these sense pleasures are just products of our imagination, and therefore he is not carried away. He is not carried away. He recognizes that it is pointless to crave for a drop of water when there is ocean available. And he gets his direction right, moving towards the ocean instead of running after chasing a drop of water. Such a person is the sthita prajna. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha sthita prajnas tadochyate. Now, when there is that sense of completeness, when one recognizes there is no lack of anything, and one has complete mastery over one's desires. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogata. Then such a person, such a sthita prajna has no agitations whatsoever in his mind. And he is free of all kinds of selfish desires. And therefore, Krishna says, dukkeshu anudvignamanaha, sukeshu vikataspruhaha, vita raga bhaya krodaha, stitadhir muniruchyate. Dukkeshu anudvignamanaha. He is not depressed amidst challenges, amidst the tapatrayas. Whether we like it or not, there are many times where we cannot make choices. There are choiceless situations. Miseries come in three forms: Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika. Miseries created by our own body and mind. Miseries that we create for ourselves. All our mental afflictions are all Adhyatmika. Adi Bhautika, miseries created by others around. Adi Devika, miseries created by nature. Dukkheshu Anudvignamanaha, one who is not agitated when all the miseries are being experienced, one is not agitated whatsoever, because one recognizes the fragility of life. One recognizes the law of impermanence of everything. Sukheshu vigata sprihaha. At the same time, sukheshu vigata sprihaha. Amidst all kinds of pleasures, one also is not carried away completely. Vita raga bhaya krodaha stitadhir muniruchyate. Vita raga bhaya kroda. One who is devoid of raga, bhaya, krodha. All three are interlinked. So we saw avidya, ajnana leading to apurnatva, apurnatva leading to kama. Selfish desires driven by a sense of lack, a sense of incompleteness. This kama manifests in three different forms: raga, bhaya, krodha. I desire to possess an object. Before possessing the object, it is kama. It manifests as kama. When I possess the object, the kama then transforms into raga, attachment. I hold on. I cling on. That is raga. That is attachment. Now, once I hold on to what I possess, once I develop raga, then automatically there is also bhaya, fear of losing what I possess. And when the intensity of my fear is directly proportional to the intensity of my attachment. So kama has manifested as raga and then as bhaya, and when I hold on to something intensely, and if that what I possess is separated, then I also develop krodha, that is anger, another manifestation of kama. So kama has manifested as raga, bhaya and krodha. So if I need to manage anger, if I need to manage fear, if I need to manage attachment, I need to start at the level of my desires. And if I need to manage my desires, I need to address my apurnatva, a sense of lack, a sense of incompleteness in everything that I do. And how do I overcome the sense of lack, the sense of incompleteness? By addressing the root cause, avidya, ajnana. A sthita prajna has conquered this avidya, has conquered ajnana with jnana. Jnana of what kind of jnana? The knowledge of reality. And therefore, he is devoid, vita raga bhaya krodaha. He is devoid of raga, bhaya and krodha. So Krishna says, such a person is a sthita prajna. Dukkeshu anudvignamanaha, sukheshu vigata sprihaha, vita raga bhaya krodaha, sthitadhir muniruchyate. Then he goes on to say, Yas sarvatrana visnehas tattat prapya subhashubham Nabhinandati na dveshti tasya prajna pratisthita. Yes, sarvatra nabhisnehas tat tat prapya subhashubham. Sneha. Sneha is liking. Sneha is also attachment, because sneha also is sticky, glue. So therefore, sneha here is stickiness, attachment. Abhisneha, excessive attachment. Anabhisneha, lack of excessive attachment. So Krishna says, Yas sarvatra nabhisnehas tattat prapya subhashubham. One who is without excessive attachment to the worldly things, worldly matters, to the external world. Tattat prapya subhashubham. Who welcomes both favorable and unfavorable circumstances. A sthita prajna understands the force of prarabdha. Even a jnani cannot escape the force of prarabdha. So therefore, whether one likes it or not, prarabdha brings favorable and unfavorable circumstances, and they have to be experienced, and therefore they have to be welcomed and accepted. A sthita prajna welcomes and accepts both favorable and unfavorable experiences. Yes, sarvatra nabhisnehas tat tat prapya subhashubham. Now here we need to understand what is the formula that Krishna gives for handling the fragility of life. Sarvatra anabhisnehas. He is talking about lack of excessive attachment. Now, how to overcome attachment? Is it practical? Now, if somebody is completely cut off from this world, possibly to cultivate total detachment becomes easy. But for those who are engaged in worldly affairs, those who have to lead their regular lives, operate in this world of matter, total detachment is not very practical. Therefore, Krishna here is talking about lack of excessive attachment. What I would like to call detached attachment. Now, what is detached attachment? Now, we need to here understand what is pure attachment. Pure attachment is driven out of selfishness. And when there is pure attachment to a person, for example, that is not going to, and if the other person is suffering, it is not going to be possible for one who is attached to that person to end the suffering of the other, because a person who is drowning cannot help another person who is also drowning. Whereas, on the other hand, pure detachment, there is no compassion there. And it is a complete apathy. And even that is not practical when one has to deal with people, situation and circumstances. So detached attachment is to be in a state of empathy, to have compassion, to have love, but at the same time stay detached. So that's why Krishna here talks about sarvatra anabhisneha, lack of excessive attachment, which we can call a detached attachment. Tattat prapya subhashubham nabhinandati na dveshti tasya prajna pratishtita. Na abhinandati na dveshti na abhinandati. One who does not rejoice in favorable situations, because he knows these favorable situations soon will turn out to become unfavorable. Therefore, there is no point in rejoicing exceedingly. Na dveshti. One does not hate unfavorable situations, because he also knows those unfavorable situations will go and soon there will be some more favorable situations. Therefore, there is no point to cultivate hatred. And such a person, nabhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratishtitha. And then Krishna goes on to say, Yada samharate chayam kurmongani va sarvashaha indriyanindriyartebhyaha tasya prajna pratishtitha. Yada samharate chayam kurmongani va sarvashaha. He is now giving an example of a tortoise. Interestingly, tortoise has 4 limbs and a head, all of which are withdrawn when it senses dangers. So the 4 limbs plus the head represent our 5 sense organs. Indriyani indriyartebhyaha. Indriyani indriyartebhyaha. It is how to remove the senses, withdraw the senses from the respective sense objects. When a person can withdraw his senses from their respective sense objects, just like how a tortoise withdraws its limbs and head into its shell when it senses dangers. Similarly, when a person can withdraw his senses from the sense objects, such a person, tasya prajna pratishtita, such a person's wisdom is firm. Now, when we look at these 4 shlokas, in fact, we should start with this shloka, because this is the beginning of the journey of becoming a sthita prajna. Because the very first stage is to start protecting the fence. We need a fence around us to protect us. There is no point in struggling over choices. It is important to choose our struggles. When I say there is no point struggling over choices, in the presence of several temptations, there is no point in trying to choose, make a choice. What is more important? To choose the struggle. Choose which temptation I will deal with, which temptation I will flee from. There is no point in landing in a bar and then trying to make a choice between consuming alcohol or consuming a Coke. Rather, I would make the choice of avoiding going to the bar. So therefore, the journey of becoming a sthita prajna has to start. This is why Krishna gives the example of a tortoise. How do I withdraw my senses from the various sense objects? How do I choose my struggles and not struggle making choices? Avoiding the avoidable dangers is not cowardice. It is common sense. If I land up in the midst of Sheikh Zayed Road and I start walking and then I say, how do I deal with all the vehicles that are going around? How do I escape getting unhurt? That is foolishness. I would rather avoid walking on the road. Before even talking about developing self-control, can I avoid situations that demand self-control? This is where we can use the weakness of our own mind. The mind has a weakness. It always takes the path of least resistance. It always takes the path of least resistance. The mind is lazy by design sometimes. And how do I use this to my advantage? Now, if an indulgence is available, the mind automatically pushes towards that indulgence. But if I starve the mind from that indulgence, the mind will struggle, make an effort, and then when the effort seems to be great, it will itself give up. Now, if I have to regulate my diet and stop eating too many sweets, and then every time I sit down on the table and I have a jar full of sweets right in front of me, obviously the mind will take the path of least resistance and easily indulge. But if I hide those sweets somewhere, and every time I have to eat that sweet and I have to struggle to find, or even better, I have to walk a kilometer to buy it, sooner or later I will give up. So therefore, the very first step of becoming a Sthita Prajna, so Krishna here actually took us through the reverse steps. He started off at the highest step. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha sthita prajnastadochyate. Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. Here he is talking about conquering all desires. Sarvan partha manogatan yada kaman. That's at the highest stage of being a Sthita Prajna. Mastery over desires, mastery over sense organs. But mastery has to first begin with control. And therefore, we have to now, when it comes to practice, we have to go the reversal. We have to start with Yada samharate chayam kurmongani vasarvasaha indriyanindriyartebhyaha tasya prajna pratishtita. Then yasarvatrana visnehas tattat prapya subhasubham navinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratishtita. Then comes dukkeshu anudvignamanaha sukeshu vikataspruha vitaraga bhayakroda sthitadhir muniruchyate, and that then leads to the highest step of Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmanyevatmana tushtaha sthaprajnastadochyate. So Krishna gives a stepwise progress starting from control of the senses, withdrawal, even before control, withdrawal. Wherever possible, avoid dangers, avoid temptations. It is good to flee rather than face and struggle where possible. There are temptations. We are faced with some certain temptations and we are choiceless. But majority of the times we have an opportunity to choose which temptations to deal with and which temptations to feel from. So the very first step starts with, how do I manage my temptations? How do I withdraw myself from all these temptations around? Just like how a tortoise withdraws itself into a shell. And when that withdrawal helps cultivating, this is the protection I was talking about. The knowledge that I gain is very feeble to begin with. The knowledge of reality, the knowledge of who I am, the knowledge of the Atman, the knowledge that I am complete by myself, the knowledge that I have no lack is very feeble. It needs protection. I need to necessarily build a very strong fence around, have a strong wall all around. I need to necessarily withdraw myself. Now, once I start, then that feeble flame-like knowledge starts growing. And as knowledge that I gain starts growing, my control over the mind also starts to increase. Then I am able to discriminate between excessive attachments and less excessive attachments, based on which I am able to now accept situations as they come. And as I accept situations, understanding that this is the force of prarabdha, and I am not carried away by favorable circumstances, or I get into a depression because of unfavorable circumstances, the knowledge that I gain even grows further. The flame grows in intensity. And when that intensity of knowledge that I gain grows, and that gets more and more assimilated, that issues out as actions, and I am able to now manage sukha and dukkha equally. I am now devoid of raga, bhaya, krodha. I can manage my fears. I can manage my anger. I can manage my attachment, because why? I can now manage my desires. When I start managing my desires, slowly I realize that there are two kinds of desires, binding and non-binding. Non-binding are sattvic desires. Binding are tamasic and rajasic desires. I start cultivating, strengthening my sattvic desires. And with the help of my sattvic desires, I start to counter the tamasic and rajasic desires. I start to conquer these desires, the tamasic and rajasic desires. And eventually, Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan. I have mastery over my senses. I have mastery over my desires. That results in purnatva, a sense of a total completeness, abundance of love, abundance of everything. And when there is purnatva, there can be no selfish desires. And I am content, I am happy, I am calm, I am peaceful. And the mind becomes beautiful. And only when the mind is beautiful, the expressions, the manifestation in terms of the actions, the conduct, the behavior also becomes beautiful. And those are the signs of a Sthita Prajna. Sarvam Sri Krishna Arpanamastu.